A very warm good evening to all of you. I welcome you all to the 230th session of CENTA's webinar series for teachers. We have great content waiting for you all today. The topic for today's webinar is Unleash Your Power, a session for highly effective teachers. And the facilitator for this session is Mary Sebastian. Mary Sebastian is a teacher trainer, author, TED educator, ESOL facilitator, content writer, 100 and CENTA ambassador, and VIP member of the International Teachers Association and Australian Educators Group. In addition to her profile, she is also a winner from last year's CENTA International TPO. Mary Sebastian comes with a rich educational background spanning over 3 decades. She has worked in Delhi as PGT English and then in Kuwait, and currently an ESOL facilitator at 21K School. She has conducted sessions online in the Middle East, Sri Lanka, Africa, and Southeast Asian countries. Notable achievements encompass global contributions such as Nile TESOL and TESOL International Workshops. And recognitions include Best Progressive Teacher, CENTA Teaching Professionals Olympiad Distinct Rank, National Achievers Award, the Inspirational Guru Award in 2023, and recently an award from Ministry of Education in Malaysia for having conducted 200 PD sessions. Welcome, ma'am. Before I hand over the session to the facilitator, I would like to inform all teachers that they will receive participation certificate for this session. So please do fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you towards the end of this session. So, yes, ma'am. Over to you.
I'll take over. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I know it's good morning in Ghana because it's almost 11:35 in Ghana. It's almost 5:30 in Bhutan because I saw the number of participants that have joined from various parts of the world. So he has given me, the moderator has given me a brief introduction. And if most of you remember, I did conduct a session last year that was in March, and that was, how to be an effective teacher. So this time, my topic is Unleash Your Power. Now, before I start the session, like last year, let me tell you, I need an interactive audience. Because remember, we are teachers and we are used to talking. But here, the talking will be through your messages, because here only I am going to be speaking. So my first question to the entire esteemed audience that is watching me, all the participants who are there, why did you become a teacher? Give me one reason. What was it that made you take up this profession, teacher? And the moderator can just very quickly read some answers that are there on the chat. Why did you become a teacher? If you can very quickly just type, it's your passion, your parents told you that was the only occupation left, whatever is the reason. So can I have some answers very quickly? Mr. Shivkumar, can you just read out some answers that are coming on the chat box? All right, I can see some answers. Okay, yeah.
Ma'am, passion, they say, like Rajalakshmi ma'am says, my passion. Then Trishna ma'am says to impart our knowledge forward and because of passion, to bring a change. My mother inspired me. I love teaching. Reading the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People made me become a teacher.
Wow.
Then Mr. Khan says, Miss Khan says, teachers are... teachers have the power to reform the world. Then Vidya ma'am says, being with young minds keeps us young, continuous learning.
Absolutely. All
So
right. I can see a lot of chats. A lot of messages are there in the chat. One person I relate to is, my mom told me to become a teacher. Absolutely correct. But right now, if I am a teacher, it's because it keeps me young, being with young students. So today's session, and somebody has already read the book. So today's session, just don't think about what you have read in the book, because I'm going to connect the book with our teaching profession. Now, as Mr. Shivkumar already said, I have 3 decades of teaching experience, but I still believe I am a learner. And that's one place that center, any session that they have, I am one person who's already there in the forefront, trying to learn, trying to empower myself, because I know, whatever I have learned is what was, some years ago. No, none of us expected the COVID to come. So we did learn during the pandemic, very quickly we learned. So today's session is unleash your power. And as the introduction says, I am a very passionate educator. Anywhere there is a session, anywhere, whichever part of planet Earth there is a session, I am there if I'm invited. And of course, it's all virtual. I'm a curious educator. So whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it is, anything that is coming up, we have now magic. There are a lot of things that are coming up. So I am always into, my curiosity never ends. And I'm actually at this age living the change I aspire for. Now, some people think, okay, she's got 30 years of experience, so she must be pretty old. Well, age is not a factor here. Age is never a factor for learning. If teachers, if you believe that you're old and there is no need for learning, take a reflection, have a reflection. We need to learn, because the current generation, the so-called Gen Z, is always changing, always learning. In fact, they know more than us. So today we are going to understand and apply the 7 habits in our teaching. And I have put personal growth first. If you see, it's not professional and personal growth. It is personal and professional growth. Because if I am okay, my profession is also okay. If I am low, if I'm not up to the mark, my profession is affected. So we are going to apply the 7 habits framework in teaching for personal, for my growth, for your growth, and for our professional growth. There is one thing that is common among all of us, the hundreds of people who have registered and who are joining online. One thing that is common, that is, we are all teachers by profession. We are all facilitators by profession, where the students are being imparted, as somebody said rightly in the chat, we are imparting our knowledge. As I have already said, my session is based on the 7 habits of highly effective people by Dr. Stephen R.Covey. And I was fortunate enough to meet him in 2008 when he visited Kuwait. So I was one of the few invited by the Ministry of Education Kuwait to meet this gentleman. And I was totally floored by what he had to say. And from that day onwards, there has been a positive effect in my teaching. I'm not saying my teaching was not positive. Wherever I was, whether it was in Delhi, whether it was in Kuwait, whether now that I'm teaching in 21K school, which is a totally online school, I think somewhere I have made a mark. So my session today is based on the 7 habits. Now, the 7 habits of highly effective people. We are all looking at the lives of, I recently asked one of my grade 7 students, whom do you aspire to be? And the answer immediately promptly came, I want to be like my mother. I thought probably the child is going to say Elon Musk or Virat Kohli or some, the moment the person said my mother, and I asked the child, why my mother? Because my mother is the epitome. She has all the qualities of the highly successful people. She manages her home. She manages a profession. She manages me. That was something which was, really, really something which was really, fascinating. The child says, that is one effective person she aspires to be. So the 7 habits of highly effective people, we're going to take them step by step, slide by slide. And again, I need an interactive audience, because I need to know whether you are paying attention or whether you are, just there on the screen. So let's go to the first one. Are you all proactive or are you all reactive? I need in the chat box, and I'm going to make Harsha slightly busy here. If you are reactive, that means I'm a very emotional person. Let me tell you that in advance. So if you are reactive, reactive to the situation, you react very quickly. You blame others. Something goes wrong. What happened? This is your fault. You blame people for problems. You blame situations for problems. Are you a reactive person, or are you willing to take responsibility for every aspect of your life? That means our life. Anything good happens, You are taking the responsibility. Anything bad happens, are you willing to take the responsibility? So how many of you are proactive? How many of you are reactive? Can I have it very quickly on the chat, in the chat? If you're
Ma'am,
proactive,
most
yeah.
yes, ma'am. Most of them they are saying proactive, except like one or two teachers or participants reactive, ma'am.
Absolutely. We are all teachers and we need to be, I would say, proactive come reactive. Now, why proactive? Because, when you enter a class, when you are in a class, you are, responsible for the class. Every aspect of your class, you are responsible. If people are taking in some, people are grasping the material, if the class is not, an active class, if the children are not responding to you, take responsibility. There is something wrong there. Why children are not responsible? Don't blame it on the children. They are not in a good mood today. Sometimes a lot of people say, oh, the weather is very bad and I feel dull. Why blame weather god for that? Now, if the weather is bad, it need not necessarily you be, start a day on a dull note. Always start your day on a positive note, because when your day has started positively, you carry that positivity to your class, you carry that positivity to your students, they further carry it to their family, to their peer group, to the society. But if you are reactive, if you blame students, if you blame your department, you blame your teachers, you blame everybody else except yourself, then you are reactive. As teachers, as facilitators, we need to be proactive and try to take the responsibility for everything that happens. It's not only the laurels that you are supposed to be there. I remember, when I was a CBSE grade 12, head examiner in Delhi, the results would be bad. The teacher is to be blamed. No, take the responsibility. The students are to be blamed. Take the responsibility. Schools, teachers, parents, society, we need to be proactive. So teachers, my dear fellow teachers, it is your choice whether you are proactive or whether you are reactive. Now, we are all part of a teaching fraternity, right? So, when we take initiative, we take responsibility. I always believe to, anything comes my way, I always like to take the initiative. I'm a person like that, and I'm sure many of you who are there out there are people who take initiative. Sometimes you've got brickbats, why is she taking the initiative or why is he taking the initiative? But remember, we are basically proactive. We are teachers. We are always, we are always busy. Whether it's summer holidays, whether it's winter holidays, whether it's Pongal break, we are all we are all doing something, because we have to face the class, we have to enter class. So be proactive, not only in your life, in your teaching, but otherwise also. Have a positive, have a smile on your face, and that smile, let me tell you, is infectious in the class. So your classroom also needs to be proactive. Now, when you're planning your lessons, suppose you're planning to cook something special. Today is, let's say, the birthday of your child, or the birthday of a loved one. We always plan, no, okay, this is what is going to be there, I'm going to plan a birthday party, and this is there, this is there. Imagine that's a birthday party, of course, which is very important. How much more important is your classes? Your classes are highly important. Never enter a class without a mental preparation. Kindly plan your lessons. That is why we have the lesson plan. Never enter a class, whether it's a substitution class, whether it's a regular class, any class, whether it's a peer observation class, always enter with a plan, with, and what am I going to do today? How am I going to go about it? So be a proactive teacher through your lesson plan, through classroom management skills. Now, here you will see I'm the only one talking. I can only see some messages lots of messages in the chat. But when you're actually in the classroom, are you the talking person, or is it an interactive class? Are you having a class which is unmanageable, or are you having a class where children are waiting to enter your class and learn? Learning should be fun. Learning should be happy classes. If your classes are not happy, there is no learning there. Let me tell you one thing, again, something that was shared with me by a student when I was way back in Kuwait. Teachers have stopped smiling. Please do not, your class room management, one thing that is very infectious is the radiance that you carry into your class, the effect that you carry in your class. So have a proactive approach through your lesson plan, through your classroom management skills. Communicate regularly with parents. Communicate. Now, when I was in an offline school, we used to have regular PTMs. Right now I'm at an online school, and let me tell you, we have regular PTMs. We have interaction with parents where, so communicate with parents. Tell them how we can together collaborate for the enhancement of the child, because it is their child, but right now you are responsible for it. So have regular communications. Now, let me tell you, at our school, we have PTMs, but, the informal sessions that we have, it's called Coffee with Me. So the parents come and they discuss. So regularly, we should have communication with parents. Teachers, be proactive by, attending professional development sessions. Not for that piece of paper. I know the national, the curriculum planning has said that, we should have so many hours of professional development. I am conducting or I am attending a professional development session to develop myself, not for that piece of paper. That piece of paper is very important, let me tell you. But what is your takeaway from each session? Now, right now, I just said, I need messages in the chat. Student engagement. Nobody wants a lecture method these days, because if they wanted a lecture method, or if they wanted something which is Googled, children can do it very quickly. They can do it. They're smarter than us. So be proactive with your student engagement tactics, the methods that you have. This is the techno era. We are all techno savvy teachers or facilitators, as we call. So adapt to technology. A couple of years ago, not a couple of years ago, during the pandemic, I happened to meet one of my teachers who taught me in grade 6. And let me tell you, I was a very bad student when I was back in my school, really, really a very poor student. And the teacher said, I can't imagine teaching in this era, because, technology, we have Zoom, we have Big Blue Button, we have Google Classes. We need to adapt to technology, because this is the era of technology. And we cannot do this without the support of the students. Since I'm in an online class, there have been many situations where my students have told me, ma'am, if you do like this, the slide would be better. Ma'am, if you do like this, this will be better. We need the support of the teachers, because together we can do it. The second habit, that was the first one, be proactive. And let me tell you, the first habit is the foundation of all the other 6 habits. If that habit is sound, if that habit is perfect, then all the other 6 habits come, into place. You don't have to worry about it. So the second habit is begin with the end in mind. What am I trying to achieve? What are my long-term goals? What are my short-term goals? My long-term goals are that students should be doing, they should do well, and they should do well to take it forward, not for that temporary period. They're doing well for the temporary period. No. So let them take it. So what is the long-term goal and what is the short-term goal? And whatever you're creating, as I said about, your birthday celebration, create it, mentally. And when the plan is created mentally, you do it physically. That means the plan is in action. Retrospect your teaching. Once the session is conducted, don't say done and dusted. No. Reflect on the session. Was it good? There are some things in our lesson plan. We have WWW and even better if EBI. So we have to literally chart down after the end of every lesson in the lesson plan what went well and even better if. And if you actually look at your teaching, you'll find there are certain situations where you would have done better. If given an opportunity, you would have definitely done better. So mentally plan, and physically when you put the action in plan. Make a chart for yourself, make a distinct, this is my goal. Not only ask students to have goals, but you should also have, what is your goal? Now, as Center has, Center has now almost 1.5 million teachers who are registered with Center. What is your goal? How many students' life are you going to be effective in? That, children come back and say, okay, this was my teacher and I still remember. So have a goal, have a weekly plan. Please include your priorities. That's very, your weekly plan should have, your priorities listed. Use a marker to list your priorities, because in this mad rush of lessons, meetings and workshops, there are certain priorities which take backseat. And I'm sure many teachers here in this group will agree. Your family, we are neglecting our family, we are neglecting everything, which is going to come in the next slides. But have a weekly plan. Always assess your successes and failures. If you have done well, give a pat to yourself. Pamper yourself. Don't wait for others to acknowledge your success. Acknowledge your success, firstly yourself, and then wait for the others. And also acknowledge your failures. A child actually rightly told me that when she fails, she never gets disappointed. She feels that, and she quotes Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, in that failure is the first attempt in learning. This is what should be our attitude. So not only your successes are important, but also your failures. Again, here next, the habit number 2 that comes here is always have a learning objective, and your activities should be aligned to the learning objectives. Many teachers enter class with the learning objective something else and the activity something else. There should always be an aligned activity to the learning objective, to the specific learning objective. That is why we plan the curriculum in advance. I'm sure many schools, including my school, we've already started planning the curriculum. So plan the curriculum with a focus. Now, a session is going to start in April. You can't be sitting in March and planning your curriculum. You have to do it much in advance. So plan the curriculum with a focus. Develop assessments, because, we are talking about differentiated learning. So have assessments that, align the desired learning objective, that every child in your class, every student of your class is able to perform well in the assessment. Because at the end of the day, that is what matters. Have individualized learning plans. Now, I never believe in group learning plans. I never believe in group lesson plans also, because my lesson plan reflects my personality and my students. I cannot say, okay, you prepare this lesson plan and I prepare for this grade. No. The same way, we should have individualized learning plans, because all your students in class are different. Each child is different. Ask each child to have a personalized goal. And that personalized goal, keep repeating, ask them often, did you do this? Were you able to manage this? Were you able to complete this? And suppose they have done this, acknowledge them, celebrate with them. So have, personalized goals, not only for the students, each student should have a personalized goal, and for yourself. And of course, we come to the PTM, where we are always talking about academic growth. Now, of course, everyone is talking about extracurricular activities. So not only academics, but also we need to talk during PTMs about personal goals. What is the child doing to enhance his speaking skills, writing skills, sports? There are a lot of children who are very good in sports. What are they doing to enhance that? So discuss all this in the PTM also. Now, let me tell you one thing before I go to the other habits. If you see the 4 wheels of a car, education is like that. Where the 4 wheels is, I would say the 4 wheels, first is the student, the center, the parents, the teachers, and society. If one wheel is not okay, if you have a flat tire, the car will not move. It can probably move for a couple of minutes probably, but otherwise it is going to crash. It's going to just rest there only. All 4 of us have to work in unison. All 4 of us have to work together. And for that, we come to habit number 3. First things first. One thing I have learned is, we teachers never say no. We don't have the word no in our dictionary. Will you do this? Yes. Will you do this? Yes. Why? Because for us, no means next opportunity. Everything that is given on your platter, You probably would not be able to taste it, but always don't prioritize your schedule. I'm going to do this. This is very important. Rather, schedule your priorities. What is important? I have two things to attend. I have my child's PTM, and I have to go for the first show, Shah Rukh Khan movie. What's your priority? Definitely my priority is attending the PTM. So don't prioritize your schedule, rather schedule your priorities. Now, this is something which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the Eisenhower matrix for teachers. It is, there are certain things which are urgent and important, not urgent and important. Some things we just get it done. That is marking. We just do it. I know a lot of my friends who actually correct papers with music. They find it better. I'm able to do it. So whether it's marking, whether it's reporting, we need to do it. This is very urgent. This is very urgent. A lot of people feel, it's okay. I don't need to plan lessons because, I know it. I've been there in this business, in this teaching career for so many years. So I know it. I don't have to do it. So there is urgent and there are not urgent things. There are certain things meetings which are very important. There are many emails that you have to immediately reply to. Very important. You have to. Do not push them back. Do not push them back. But there are a lot of things which are not urgent. That is social media. Many of us spend a lot of time on social media. Many of us spend a lot of time in gossip and speculation. If this happens, now this person came to my class. Why did this person come to my class? We are always speculating. And we are always trying to be the perfect teacher. There is nobody perfect, let me tell you. We are all human beings. So let's not, think about the trivial matters. Rather, let's think about think out of the box. We are told think within the box, think out of the box. I always say think around the box also. So a lot of things which are urgent and important, prioritize what is important, what is not important. I'm sure many of you are here right now attending the session are Centa Olympiad. You've already got a position. How many of your colleagues called you up and congratulate you? Can I have, how many of your schools felicitated you? How many of your cousins said, wow, you did well? I got it. I got a lot of accolades, from a lot of people. How many of you, very quickly? And tell me honestly, was everybody happy with your success? Or there were some people who were not happy with your success? Harsha, can we have it in the chat? Just tell me, how many of you felt proud, when you got a good this thing in Olympiad, in the Center Olympiad? Or if you're planning to do it now also, let me tell you, go ahead, go for it. So how many of you actually had people celebrating your success? Like we celebrate the success of our grade 10 and grade 12 students. How many of you had people celebrating your success? Can you very quickly write on the chat box? Let's see how many of you had. Honestly, I'm sure we are all going to be very honest.
Ma'am, there are few responses, ma'am. Sharanya ma'am says very few. Then few teachers say, I don't get it. So few of them, they say few were happy and few were jealous. Less than a handful of them, they were happy.
Okay,
Felt
right.
very proud. They say, ma'am, then I worked so hard, but never. That's what
Okay,
one of the teachers say.
perfect. Okay, let's not look at the negative things here. Let our policy, now all those people, the hundreds of you who are joined here right now, let's bring the change. So it's basically mutual benefit. Let me tell you one thing. I actually share all my successes with my teammates, with my school, and with my students primarily. I always share it with them because my policy is I win, you win, we win. This is what Stephen Covey also says. There is enough success for all in the world. Do not wait to be appreciated. Appreciate yourself. I had said in a couple of slides ago, appreciate yourself. We are waiting for others to appreciate. Let them, I did so much, as somebody said, I worked so hard, but no appreciation. I don't think we need appreciation from anybody. Appreciate yourself. you have taken this, at this age, being a teacher, if you studied and if you did very good in the Olympiad, collars up for you, give yourself a tap, say, wow, you did good. So let's have this attitude. Let's get a change. There is enough success for all. And honestly, I appreciate all the schools, including mine. Every time, somebody does, and even center, how many times they've sent us congratulations message. And every time they are mentioning, congratulations. Take success as it comes. Never let it go to head, and never feel sad, oh, she or he is not appreciating. Because you appreciate yourself, appreciation will follow. Let me tell you that. In within, so many years of experience, I can guarantee that. I don't wait for others to appreciate yourself. First, appreciate yourself, and the others will appreciate you. So, I win, you win, we all win. This is a think win-win. Like, it's a mutual benefit. If you are doing something good, your students are going to gain benefit out of it. Students are going to go out in the society is going to benefit out of it. Society makes the world is going to benefit. So it's basically a win-win situation for all. Again, when you're doing it here, now collaboration is very important. This is one thing I have learned over the course of my years. When you collaborate with your colleagues and you develop lessons, it comes out. Take ideas from students. There are many times, now I would like to just take 1 minute here and share with you 2001. And I've shared this last time also. 2001, when we were selected, we were only 22 of us selected from India to teach in the Ministry of Education, Kuwait. Only 22 ladies. First time going to the Arab world, didn't know anything, away from the family. But the amount of love and appreciation we got, being Indians, the only Indians in that community where everybody is an Arab, the amount of collaboration I saw, that's something which I carry forward. Everywhere, whichever school, wherever I'm teaching, I always believe in collaborating and sharing. So collaborate and share with your colleagues. Never hide it, because remember, you are the lamp. And if you hide the lamp under the bed, what use is the light? So take this light and share it with everybody. Have a trust and respect relationship with your students. We are always thinking, I'm a teacher, so students should respect me. My mom has taught me, give respect and get respect. Do not ask for respect if you are not respecting others. So there should be a positive relationship between students and teachers. Encourage children to be a part of a team and share the success. I'm sure most of us were heartbroken. We cried when we lost the World Cup. But remember, as a country, we stood with them. Throughout all the 12, 13 matches, we were so happy when India was doing. It's a teamwork. It's shared success. The same thing carried to your class. Tell them when one child does well, we have to appreciate that. It's not always I, it's the we that is important. And once again, teachers, please share your knowledge and experiences. Do not hide it. Never hesitate to share your knowledge. Never hesitate to share your experience. When I was just looking at the YouTube, a couple of minutes ago, and there was this person from Ghana, and he said, I'm from Ghana. I have met a lot of people in center, who from the African countries, and I'm so proud. Some of them are my very good friends, So we shared a lot of experiences, my experience with their experience. It does fantastic, because basically we are teaching students. So whether it's any part of planet Earth, whether it's India, Africa, Asia, Australia, I can see somebody's from Australia also here. We are all in this together. That's why all of you have come here, because you want to get something. There is a particular takeaway here. Next one is the fifth habit. We are always misunderstood, right? And I'm sure many of you have been told this. We talk a lot. I'm basically a talkative person. When my dad used to come to school, I studied in Presentation Convent, Delhi, and one major complaint of all teachers was everybody was saying that Mary is very talkative. I love to talk, absolutely. There is still, I love to talk, but there have been many occasions when I want people to understand me. But the of all relationship is that we listen more and we talk less. We need to listen with our eyes. We need to, when you enter a class, if you see a particular child, I can actually make out when children are hungry. Even being in a virtual class, I can actually make out when children are not able to concentrate in class, and I just tell them, students, take a 1 minute break, go and have a glass of water, go and check what mom is cooking in the kitchen. So listen with your eye, with our eyes, as much as we are listening with our ears. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. What is she going to say? What is she going to say? We are listening because what is going to be my reply? How am I going to reply? What is going to be my reply to it? So most people, we listen with the intention. We do not listen with the intention to understand. Let me understand this particular child. Let me understand this particular teacher. Maybe she has a problem. The child has a situation. We listen with the intent, what answer am I going to give? When you ask your students, how many of you have not done the homework? A couple of students would say, they didn't do the homework. Absolutely fine. Ask them the reason, what happened, maybe they had a crisis at home. So we need to listen to people, not to, for the intention, what am I going to respond? What is going to be my reply? I'm a teacher, I have to be strict. No. Teachers, let me tell you, we are all human beings. Most of us relate to our teachers when we were in school, teachers who understood us, teachers who took time to, share. All right, Mary, what's the issue? Why is maths not your favorite subject? They waited, they asked me that. Let's do it. Let's understand our children. Now, you can all see a picture here. Can I have very quickly in the chat, what do you see here? Any answer? I'll give you a couple of seconds. What do you see here? Harsha, can we get some responses? What do you see in this particular slide?
Yes, ma'am. We'll give a few seconds for them to type in, ma'am.
Yes.
Parvati ma'am says happy class.
Okay.
Novera Khan ma'am says an interactive class, enthusiastic students, interactive, following classroom rules.
Okay.
Happy environment, interaction between teacher and children, happiness and enthusiasm, engaged class.
Perfect. Now, basically, the first thing that I saw was, it's a maths class, if I'm not mistaken, because I can see a triangle or whatever that figure is. Yeah, it's a triangle, I think. So it's a maths. Now, see, each one of you, your perspective is different. I see a maths teacher trying to teach something. Some of you saw happy classes. Some of you saw, the teacher is smiling. That means teacher is very happy to teach. The children are all, if you see, all the hands are raised. I'm imagining all the 25 or 23 students have raised their hand. They've understood a session that has been understood by everybody, because everybody's hand is raised up. So what do you see? Your perspective and my perspective is different. It shows that two people can see the same thing, yet we differ with each other. So some saw happy classes, some saw interactive teacher session. I saw the maths class first. When I saw this image, I said it's a maths class. But then I understood it's an interactive, it's a happy class. Everyone is enjoying the lesson. Can you imagine enjoying maths lesson? I wish I had a teacher like that when I was there. So let's have these 5 habits, because when these 5 habits are there, remember, the 6th habit becomes automatically fantastic, because the 6th habit is together we are better. I'm sure you all remember in our childhood when we were probably in grade 1, 2, 3, we've heard this story. A father calls 4 sons and he asks them to break a bundle of sticks, and they're not able to do. Basically, he was trying to say that together we are all, we are stronger. So remember, it's a teamwork. We are together in this. And here, once again, let me tell you, please share your teaching methods, your styles with colleagues, especially the newcomers, especially the new teachers. You are not going to lose anything if you share a particular activity that went well in your class. That went well. If you try this, I think it would be better. If you share this with the students, it would be better. So embrace, accept when others are telling you, and share with them. It's a two-way system, teachers. You give and you get. As I said in a couple of slides ago, you give and then you get. So embrace, that means embrace whatever idea, whatever methods they are sharing, embrace it and share it with others. That's why we have the center platform, where we are, if you explore the center app, we are sharing. There are a lot of teachers who share so many methods there, and people are really very active. Whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's the center app, whether it's your school platform, share it with your colleagues. We have something called IDP project in our school, the interdisciplinary projects, and we are actually the students are all busy with it because they have to present it next week in class. This is something which is collaboration, let me tell you, because we are collaborating across subjects. That is why it's called interdisciplinary, because you have maths, you have ESOL, I'm an ESOL facilitator, you have English, you have science, you have social studies, you have computer based, so all this, it's collaboration of all the subjects, and we need to plan these interdisciplinary projects. Please plan it properly. Let the students know that together we are a team. We are going to do it better. I got a couple of my students, sending me feedback forms. They have their IDP projects where they are having online, beauty shops. One child has got. So she wanted, many students send me their feedback form on Google. They wanted me to share, and I did share my feedback with them. So tell them, the students should be instructed that we are all working in this together. And as one example I always give students is, when I want them to value teamwork, is the Indian cricket team example of the World Cup. We should value teamwork, because the goal is achieved when the team works better. The team is united. The team is, there is only one agenda, that is to achieve the desired goal. So encourage group activities. Do not leave out any student. You have the passive students in class, you have the hyperactive students in class, you have talkative students like me in class, you have the docile students in class. But remember, together everyone achieves more. That's why we have the word team. We cannot fight this alone by ourselves. I cannot get a change in society by myself. I need everyone to collaborate, everyone to share, and everyone to put in their best. So teachers, when you go to class tomorrow, let me tell you, take it, with a new perspective. Start with a new perspective, because better late than never. Remember, we are all in this together. And that gets me to my last habit, that is sharpen the saw. Very tough words, actually. And as I told you, I had the fortune of meeting Mr. Covey. So when I asked him, the saw is a negative word, like, why saw? And basically, the person is trying to say, build one's personal capability. Make yourself, like, we are going after brands these days. We have the Nike brand, we have so many brands that we have. Are you a teacher who's making a difference? And how can you make a difference? By building your personal capability. And how can we do this? By enhancing ourselves. Find a balance between actually doing and a couple of us just do it just for the sake of doing it. Let me do it. I want to get this done and dusted. Others are there, I want to do it, but I want to do it in a better way. I want to do so that I'm able to improve myself also. So find a balance between actually doing something and improving your capability. Each one of us, maintain a balance, whether it's your physical, whether it's your mental, whether it's your social, and whether it's your emotional. Maintain a balance. Now, as I told you, I'm in an online school. So in an online school, the classes are like, of course, we have regular breaks between class. But there are some times that, I'm always sitting and just doing work. One thing, one student of my class told me, get up and take a walk, ma'am, just take a, and I do it regularly now. So we have a 10-minute break. I make it a point. The students have joined, tell them, take a break, children, 10 minutes. So just get up, take a break. So just promote regular exercise, not only to the students, but to yourself. Eat healthy. We all like to eat junk food. If you ask children, just go to class tomorrow and ask them, what's your favorite food? Very few of them will say mom's cooking. They will say pizza, they'll say burger, they'll say French fries, they'll say pasta, they'll say everything under the sun except mom's. But when I was in school, what was the best? It was mom's cooking. Whether it was just bread and jam for tiffin. Do you think children are going to take bread and jam for tiffin today? No, not at all. And get sufficient rest, because once you get a power nap, let me tell you, you come back with sustained energy. So take regular exercise, prioritize your physical well-being, have strategies for stress management, listen to music. As I told you, a lot of my fellows, my colleagues in Delhi who are now doing so well in the offline schools, when they are correcting papers, they listen to music. That's releasing stress. So have certain stress busters, as they say. And finally, emphasize the importance of positive relationships, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your children, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's your neighbors. Always carry the radiance, the positivity with you. Finally, I would like to tell you one thing. Don't expect wonders in this world, because we have stopped being wonderful. So if you want to see the world to be changed, I think we should change ourselves. How many of you actually want the world to change? How many of you want society? Let me just very quickly ask you, how many of you want, to be the inspirer? Like, children come back and say, ma'am, you inspired me to be a teacher. Ask children of today, the Gen Z, so-called the Gen Z students, how many of you want to be teachers? Very few will raise hands. Go and take this challenge tomorrow to class. Ask them, how many of you want to be teachers? Not in a class of 23, that's the maximum, 25, that's the maximum we have in school. I think probably one would say they want to be a teacher, because we have not inspired our students. Have you inspired your students? Now, as somebody said, my mom told me to become a teacher, but I don't regret that decision. Till date, I don't regret the situation, because I'm sure at some point of my life, I have inspired lots and lots of children, lots and lots, because I get a lot of feedback, whether it's on social media, Facebook, on LinkedIn. Many students come back and tell me, ma'am, you made a difference in our life. How many? No, that's not, but there are many who say, okay, she was very strict. Inspire others through your actions and be inspired by others. I take inspiration from my students. I take inspiration from my two daughters. I'm inspired constantly. Constantly, I'm inspired. I'm inspired by the teachers that I'm working with, the young, so-called young generation that has joined the school. I take inspiration from them. I take inspiration from my colleague. I'm inspired by Shah Rukh Khan. I'm inspired by Virat Kohli. I'm inspired by everybody. So be inspired. And when you inspire others through your actions, you are in turn inspired. So if I want to see a change in the world, how do I get a change in the world? By being the change. Tomorrow, when you enter class, my dear teachers, enter class with a smile. I'm sure many of you enter the class, but there might be some, section of teachers I'm sure not every day is a sunny day for us. There are some days when you're in a bad mood. Do not carry your bad mood into the class. Keep it at the threshold. Push it back at the threshold. Never carry negativity into class, because your students are going to catch that. They are also teachers. Many of us, have had children saying, ma'am, you're in a bad mood today. Never let this happen in your class. So children should say, she inspired me. He inspired me. I want to be like him. I want to do what he's saying. So inspire others through your actions. Listen to them. And in turn, never hesitate to be inspired. As I told you, the young teachers that have joined my school where I'm working, I'm constantly inspired by all of them. I see all of them and I'm so totally inspired. Totally inspired. So if I say, okay, now I have 3 decades of teaching, okay, that's the end of it. No, it's not the end. I want to inspire others, so that, I also am inspired by others. So if you want to see a change, the change starts with you, teachers. Each one of you here on the center platform who've joined this session today, go out to the world by being the change. Because if one person changes, you'll see you carry the change in the students so let's say if you have 23 students, you carry the change, you pay it forward, you pass it on to them. Tell them about environment. We need to keep the environment clean. Practice it. It's always, they always say, practice what you preach. Just don't preach. Do this, do this, do this. We've heard that so many times. Do this by doing that yourself. Let your students see that. So be the change you wish to see in the world, and be an inspiration. The next session, when I conducted, wherever it is, I would definitely love to ask many of you. In fact, I can just want to ask, how many of you have had old students coming back at you? Whether you're at the railway station, whether you're at the bus stop. Ma'am, do you remember me? I was, I am the 2012 batch. No, I don't remember you. Okay, tell me something about yourself. I was the naughty one. I was always, wanting to go out of the class. Probably you will not remember all the names. But let me tell you, it's a nice moment when children come back, students come back to you. Ma'am, you have been an inspiration. Sir, you have inspired me. So be the inspiration, and please do not hesitate to be inspired. How many of you, very quickly, I just have a couple of minutes more. How many of you have had students coming back and telling you, ma'am, you taught me, I am the 2013 batch, I am the 2014 batch, I am the 2020 batch. Did any of you have students coming back to you, whether it's the airport, bus stop, any place, market, anywhere that children have come, or even the alumni association, when they come and touch your feet? How do you feel about it? Do you feel happy, or you say, okay, now why is the child touching my feet? See the respect that we get. We are teachers. Any of you who've had any situations where children came back to you and said, ma'am, you have inspired me, and I'm a teacher by profession now? Harsha, can we give them a couple of seconds to just see? If
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mickey's Empire. There is another teacher, ma'am, who says, I have met most of my teachers, and same have I met my students, and it was a very positive one.
Absolutely. See the positivity. Yeah. See, when a child comes and acknowledges you, that, you have, ma'am, you were my teacher, sir, you were my teacher. Remember, the child has only good memories about you. I have seen a lot of people, shying away to greet you because, you're not the teacher that, they wish that you should be. So please, teachers, be the change. If you are the change, others will also, you're going to carry the change forward and be an inspiration. Finally, I would like to tell you one thing, final, that's it. All those who have joined today, I know a lot of you had registered and a lot of you are there. I can see a lot of you are there and there. We are all here together to support each other. We are all here together to be a part of the fraternity, the teaching fraternity and the teaching community. We are worldwide. Can you imagine? Education without teachers. Education. Now, they're saying AI will replace us, but do you think AI will replace teachers? I don't think so. AI will make teaching easier, preparation easier. But can you imagine tomorrow, after 1 year, AI is going to conduct a session on center? I doubt it. So we are basically here to support each other. Once again, thank you. Thanks a lot to the entire community, whether it's from Bhutan, Ghana, I've got all the countries listed, New Zealand, Australia. Then I have somebody from Sri Lanka who has joined, from India, Mera Bharat Mahan. All those who've joined from India, thank you so much for joining this session. I really appreciate each one of you joining this session. And let's have a positive attitude from the next class. Thank you once again.
Ma'am, we have a question from Kunal sir. How to control noisy class?
Let me ask Mr. Kunal, tell me, when you were in school, were you a quiet student or were you noisy? If I can get the response of that, I can tell you immediately. I told you, I'm a noisy class. I was a very noisy student. I was always into trouble, and I have seen sessions. I have been in classes that have been noisy. One thing is, when they are noisy, remember, understand their situation, understand their age. They, try to relate to them. If you're going to be strict with them, they are not going to like your classes. So if the class, now, when I was in Kuwait, I had, a session where a child actually threw a paper plane at me. Because Indians were first time. I took that plane and I said, I wish I could, be on this plane and go back to my home country. And you will not believe, the entire class was quiet. Like, they felt okay. That emotional, this thing is there. Relate to your students. Relate. Be in their shoes. Tell them, oh wow, we have a noisy class. I can still remember when I was in school, I also did the same thing. Okay, you've had your noise break. Let's learn something. Remember, happy classes are noisy classes also. Happy classes are learning classes also. Never have pin drop silence in class because there is something wrong there, Kunal. Something wrong is there. I hope I've answered your query. Teachers or facilitators, Harsha will share a Padlet link with you. I want you all to honestly write whatever you want to write, because the last response, last webinar, I had almost 110 teachers writing there. We all need, I want a feedback. Definitely. I'm a noisy person, let me tell you. Kunal, I very much relate to your students. I am a talkative person. So I need that connection. And that connection can only happen when I get a feedback on the session. So Harsha will share the Padlet link. Please do not forget to fill the Padlet link. You can copy it on your this thing, because Harsha will also share with you the feedback form. Anybody else? Any queries? Let me tell you one thing. I'm not here to tell you anything new. We all know this. We're just dusting the dust off. Just trying to reach. It's like a spa for us today. A well-being session for us today. Pamper yourself. Teachers, pamper yourself. Do not hesitate to pamper yourself. Have time for you, me time. Tell everyone, husband, wife, children, this is my time. This is me time. Watch movies. Now we are having a 1 week break, and let me tell you, I have watched so many series and so many movies. The backlog is almost over. Enjoy your teaching. Enjoy your life. As they say, YOLO. You only live once.
Wow, what a brilliant session. Thank you, Mary Sebastian, for a very engaging, interactive, and informative session for our community today. I'm sure that all our teachers have got a lot of takeaways from this session. So, we'll be sharing the record of participation for this webinar by tomorrow, once all of you fill the feedback form, teachers. Do attend our next session on 25th Jan 2024 and upcoming sessions on the CENTA International TPO webinar series on sample paper discussion. Thank you so much for joining us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit CENTA app. Take care. Good
Thank
night.
you once again, everyone. Good night. God bless everyone.